The carnivore diet. But Marcus, what about fiber? How do you go to the bathroom? I'm sure you've either heard this before or you're curious about fiber in relation to the carnivore diet yourself. I'm going to cover the three key things that you need to know, as well as how to remedy any digestion troubles if you're experiencing them. If you're new here, my name is Marcus. I've lost over 60 pounds and I've been helping busy folks lose fat and get healthy for over 13 years now. Let's get into it. As you know, there are three macronutrients: protein, carbs, and fat. Protein and fat are essential, meaning we must eat them to survive. Carbohydrates, on the other hand, are not essential because if we don't eat them, our body manufactures them itself. Pretty cool, right? Now, fiber is a carbohydrate, and so by definition, it is not essential. Having said that, in the context of a higher carbohydrate diet, which the vast majority of people eat, fiber may be conditionally beneficial because it can dampen the blood sugar response and keep these individuals full for longer. The kicker is that elevated blood sugar isn't much of an issue on the carnivore diet because it doesn't include carbohydrates, aside from small amounts in dairy if you choose to include it. Also, as I'm sure you know via experience, it's just about the most filling nutritional approach out there. And so carnivores typically don't need to rely on fiber for satiety. There are two main types of fiber. We have soluble and insoluble, and neither of them are absorbable by humans. Soluble fiber ferments in the gut, and it can often lead to abdominal distension, gas, bloating, and even pain. Insoluble fiber, on the other hand, adds bulk to your stool, which is just a fancy way of saying it makes your poops bigger. You may have noticed that on carnivore, your bowel movements are less frequent, and when you do go, they're much smaller. This is entirely normal because meat, fish, seafood, and eggs are so well absorbed that there just isn't very much waste. And so you typically don't need to hit the bathroom nearly as often, and when you do, there's a lot less to excrete. Some folks are of the opinion that fiber is an anti-nutrient because it may bind minerals like calcium, magnesium, iron, and zinc and reduce their absorption. Is this because of the fiber itself or other chemicals in fiber-containing foods like phytates, lectins, tannins, etc.? It's tough to say, but the thing is that it's happening either way, and we want all those minerals. Now, if someone even whispers the word constipation, everyone and their mom is like, well, you're clearly not eating enough fiber. Like we mentioned, soluble fiber ferments in the gut, and insoluble fiber adds bulk to stool. If you're having a hard time passing something through a very small hole, do you really want to make that something bulkier? Probably not, and there's interesting research to support this. This study took 63 folks with idiopathic constipation, which is just a fancy term for the cause is unknown. And they put these folks on a high fiber diet, a reduced fiber diet, and a zero fiber diet. Here are the results, and as you can see, everyone on the zero fiber diet was asymptomatic, meaning they had no constipation, no bleeding, bloating, or pain. On the zero fiber diet, folks had an average of one bowel movement each day. And on the high fiber diet, folks had an average of one bowel movement every 6.83 days. Now, some folks still experience constipation on carnivore, and if you are one of those people, I would recommend opting for fattier sources of protein because too much lean protein and or not eating enough fat can result in constipation. On the other hand, if you're experiencing loose stools, you are almost certainly eating too much fat. And so I'd recommend scaling that back until your bowel movements regulate. Now, dairy can be a bit of a tricky one because for some folks, it can result in constipation, and for others, it can actually result in loose stools. So listen to your body on the dairy front, and I do recommend eliminating it for 30 days, especially if you are experiencing digestion troubles, just to see how your body responds. As a personal anecdote, my digestion has never been better than on carnivore, and the less fiber that I eat, the better. That is not necessarily the case for everyone. Some people do seem to do better with the inclusion of dietary fiber, and if that's you, by all means, eat it. The point of this video is just to provide you with options because all we hear in the mainstream health media is that fiber is amazing and the more that you eat, the better, which is absolutely not the case for everyone. But I'm curious, how is your digestion on carnivore? Feel free to thumbs up, subscribe, and if you have any questions, post them in the comments below.